Hello there, Lynx here. Welcome to the continuation of Rinse Route, and hopefully the good ending. Well, we'll see, right? That's the main goal. Let's go. I feel very tired this morning. Me every morning. Probably because yesterday itself was a very tiring day. Not necessarily a reason for me being tired. On top of that, I woke up far earlier than necessary. No, never. After saying hi to Shizune and Misha, I started doing the work as instructed from the board. It really looks like today is going to be heavy. I don't have a problem with that now though. Student Misha might jump on me trying to get an answer about whether or not I've decided to join the student council. Even if it's just one day. I know, I will not join. I won't put it past them to try, and I don't have an answer for them either. Actually, I know I have the answer. It's no. So this situation is convenient for me. About 10 minutes into class, Hanako walks in and takes a seat, but no one looks at her. The teacher doesn't even comment on her lateness. He does, however, stop us to say that we're going to break into groups. Again! Oh no! I turn my head to see that Shizune and Misha are looking at me. Don't look, no! Shizune gives me a smile that is equal parts. No, it's just menacing, that's all. The smile that says, we have you now. There is no escape. And that's why I escape. Hey-chan, looks like we're together again. Yay! Yay! Misha leans sideways while Shizune pushes her desk closer to mine. There really is no escape now unless I were to jump through the window. Let's do that. Jumping on the window isn't the option, sadly, but still better than staying with those two. But we can't unfortunately do that. What's wrong, Hichan? Oh, Hichan had me figure out what you said yesterday. You said that you would think about joining the student council, didn't you? It's okay, Hichan. We'll talk about it after you left, and it would be rude to expect you to already have an answer for us this early, right? Right? I'm so happy you two are able to have a laugh at my expense, and even more pleased to know that you both know how crazy the two of you can be. Now, that's over. Shizune snaps back into serious mode and smacks today's assignment with the back of her hand in an overly dramatic and important way. When I actually look at the stuff, it's mostly just reading. In fact, there are only two problems. I almost want to say something about how her rush to get started seems a bit much, considering the small amount of work. In fact, Shizune probably knows how little there is and simply doesn't care. Yeah, it seems like the workload does matter her as much as the fact that there is work. The actual amount is unimportant. She approaches everything with the same level of ambition. While I'm reading, I let my eyes wander around the room and catch Hanako trying to her hand at solving the problems. It looks like she's working alone. I can't remember seeing her working with other people before. Thinking back to how shy she is, it's understandable. Hey, that girl over there. Who Hichan? Hanako, over there. Does she always work alone? I think so, Hichan. Do you feel sorry for her because she's alone? I just think that maybe she could work with us or something. No, I don't think that would be a good idea, Hichan. Why not? Shichan would get along with her. Who would get along with Shichan to begin with, to be honest? Basically nobody. Me included. Why? Misha shuffles around the question, letting out a laugh that sounds very strange. It's nervous, but still has that little thing up and down quality present in everything she says. Just because, Hichan. Just because she's a biatch. By now, Shizune has noticed our conversation and makes me realize again how Misha has been signing everything. She's been saying this whole time. Come on, man, just dump those two and go to Hanako. What, Hichan? The friend of my enemy is my enemy. That sounds so harsh, I'm not going to say that. Yes, I'm the friend of Hanako, god damn it. And I will gladly become your enemy, you He said anyway. I know, Hichan, it's fine if you're here. I wonder if this is Misha's way of keeping things fair, since without her, I won't be able to understand a thing Shizune saying, and vice versa, and it would be such a wonderful world. Is that also why she sighs all the time? So there is never a conversation Shizune will be left out of. Anyway, we should start on the problems now, Hichan. I know it would be something abrupt and, you know, maybe a wrong thing to do. But I would just get up off the desk and go to Hanako. God damn it. We finish with time to spare, and I decide to ask if there are any alternatives to the cafeteria, as frankly the food Please no, the food so far has been subpar. Can we leave them alone already? This sends Shizune and Misha arguing among themselves about their favorite restaurants. All of them are downtown, so I don't think we have time to go all the way there. And what about the wheel? Are they arguing just for the fun of it? Maybe they seem so distracted by that, but they don't even notice the start of the actual lunch break. So ditch them! I look over my shoulder towards the back of the classroom. She seems to be studying her notes from the previous class. It's an outside. Everyone else in the class is buying themselves with the lunch break. Socializing, gossiping, rearranging desks. The ones with the actual box lunches mixed in and chattering like everyone else, only interrupted by short bouts of eating. But when I watch Hanako, it feels that I'm the only one who can see her, almost as if she was invisible, sort of hiding in plain sight. Is she being bullied? Is she isolating herself from the rest of the class on her own accord? I see her look over her shoulder towards the classroom's rear door. Come to think of it, she hasn't turned a page since I've started watching her. I guess she's waiting for someone. I do what I always do when I don't know what to do. Like now. I've already started on one of the books I borrowed yesterday and took it with me to school to fill the empty moments between classes. I find the page that creased a corner off to mark the spot I left yesterday night and pick up from there. Misha and Shizune are still arguing heatedly, probably about restaurants still. If I join them, I just get caught up in that, or worse, get grilled about joining the student council, and we don't want that to ever happen. Misha isn't speaking loud since there is nobody who'd need to hear what they are talking about. But why does she tend to sign these things even when she doesn't need to understand what's being said? Or even more strangely, when Shizune is not around at all, what an odd conflict of habits! I find it hard to focus in the book, and besides, the lunch break beckons me to leave the dullness of the classroom. I do so, heading down for the cafeteria. Misha and Shizune, having come to a conclusion of one kind or another, follow in my wake. No! For still talking in their animated fashion. Leave me alone! Just around the corner of the hallway, something hits me in the chest with the force of a runaway train. Ouch! Opening my eyes, I see a pair of saucer-like green eyes looking up at me. They belong to the perpetrator, a short girl who bumped into me and has now fallen down the hallway floor. She wears a PE uniform and a very worried frown. The former strikes me as a rather strange thing to have on during a lunch break. More striking than that, though, is that she doesn't have legs. Or she does, but they are not flesh and bone. Her pale and very much flesh and bone thighs end in shins and feet made of some black metallic or plastic-like material. They look disturbingly artificial and unnatural. It almost makes me forget that my chest is hurting. The girl winces a little, rubs her nose and jumps up. Oh man! Hey, are you right? I'm sorry about that, really. I wasn't looking where I was going and you just came out of nowhere, sorry. I'm so sorry. She's looking really apologetic, in the herd puppy way of looking apologetic. I quickly forget about being angry or anything like that, since herd puppies are my weak spot. It's okay, don't worry about I say that, but there is a singing pain growing in my chest, and I know that this is about the biggest possible danger for my condition. Don't overexert yourself. Don't forget your medication. And most of all, don't get hit in my chest. I try to wrap my solar plexus to chase the pain away, holding my breath in an attempt to hear my heartbeat. It seems normal. Should I get Snellers? The worried, high-pitched voice of the girl snaps me out of it. I stared at her for a few seconds, dumbfounded, until I realized that I probably looked worse off than I really was, doubled over myself and looking all tense. Dang, I'm overly worried about my heart. No need. I'm fine. No. Managing to say something in response, I pull myself upright, feeling my sore ribs one last time and take a deep breath. She just knocked the wind out of me. Big time, but it's nothing more than that. You sure you're okay? I hit pretty hard. It's okay. I said I was fine. And nothing's broken. No harm done. That's good. I feel a hand on my shoulder at the same time, the girl's eyes widen in horror. Yeah, I understand. I don't have time to look behind me because Shizune is already shoving me aside and stomping over to the girl, signing furiously at her. Isibarazaki, I saw that. Running the halls is strictly forbidden. Misha translates right on Shizune's tail, but her voice is girlishly playful, not full of the divine fury Shizune's arms movements would seem to call for. Sorry, I was still going to get some stuff and I was kind of in a hurry. You've been told this 1,000 times before. Your reckless behavior endangers other students. Even worse, it's explicitly against the school regulations. The girl blushes, starts to fidget nervously like a child caught misbehaving. It's so cute I find myself smiling. I know that. I was just... Make sure that this will not happen again. Although I'm sure telling this is futile and only causes me further headache when you choose to ignore the regulations. Got it, Emmy? The small girl sticks her tongue out in response. I got to go. Teacher will have my pet. I promised to give printouts, but I've been running instead. Sorry, but I've got to change and everything. Well. Before Misha or Shizune or I can say anything, she's already bolted from where she was a second ago, almost halfway towards the stairwell. Shizune looks like she's about to go nuclear on the spot, so I smiled at her in a vain attempt to calm her down. Are you okay, Hichan? Teddy Barasaki girl is always like that, causing trouble to others. Yeah, you know, I'm pretty certain Shizune wouldn't call me Hichan. Never mind. Yeah, anyway, I'm just okay. Just got the wind knocked out of me. Oh, that's great, Hichan. I wouldn't call it great, but I let it slide this one time. We have to run now. There is an important student council meeting regarding the festival, and we finally decided where to eat. Too bad you can join, but this lunch meeting is only for council members. We can take you there some other time. Oh, but it'd be like that, wouldn't it? Wanna go, Michelle, on a date? God damn it. I mean, that would be so much better than Shizune. The girls leave for downstairs. I didn't manage to get far from the third floor hallway before all this commotion struck. Literally, I should get going as well. The lunch and the afternoon class pass uneventfully. I read most of the book I had started yesterday, and eat some of the mostly inedible offerings of the cafeteria. The class is tiresome. The teacher seems like an okay person despite the weird first impression I got, and the material is relatively interesting. However, the way he teaches is really bizarre. It's as if he expects that everyone is a natural genius. When the final bell sounds, I realize that there is still a lot of time left in the day and I'm left wondering what to do. It's odd. At the hospital I had 24 hours a day of free time, but here filling the considerably shorter hours feels difficult. Everyone else leaves and I'm left alone with the teacher. Muto is examining the assignment sheets we were working on earlier, marking them with a red ball pen. Raising his eyes from his papers briefly, he nods me and furrows his brow.
What is it, Nakai?
I jump at him addressing me, but I guess it's natural to spark some conversation since there is nobody else around. Oh, no, nothing. Think about what I do after school. The teacher slowly puts the cap on the pen he's holding and arranges his papers in the stack, clacking it against the desk twice. He seems very methodical, and for a brief moment I am reminded of Shizune, but the teacher's most unhurried and relaxed, much more routine and not annoying.
You have no plans?
No, I considered joining a club, but don't know what kind of club would interest me.
Go observe a meeting of someone else's club. Might pique your interest.
I guess. But I don't know how to continue from there. But looks me in a way that makes me quickly want to take the words back to avoid a conversation. But I can't, so I have to forge ahead. I just don't know how to deal with people. I mean, the other students. I'm talking to people and things, so it's not that I'd be isolated or anything. I just don't know what to think about, the disabilities. It's like, it feels that I'm being applied if I pay attention to them, and it's weird to ignore them. Damn if I do, damn if I don't. The teacher scratches the cheek, absent-mindedly, looking very unresponsive.
These things are only issues if you make them one. You can talk normally with someone, even if you're blind or something. Try to look behind the superficial. There is not a single student here who isn't just a normal kid behind whatever they might seem at first glance.
He says the same thing as Yuko did. I know they are right, but it's hard. How can you not consider, for example, Shizune's deafness when the only way to communicate with her is to talk through Misha? Or Hanako. It's not like you can ignore her face. So cute face. But I'm interrupted by the door of the classroom suddenly slamming open. Teacher! Misha crashes in, hand straight in an enthusiastic greeting, her voice loud and lively enough to wake the dead from their graves. She starts towards the teacher's desk with her bouncing step, hands energetically swinging with the rhythm. Muto, visibly dismayed at the interruption, Misha in general slumps in her chair.
Mikado.
I mean his chair, but... Misha stops in the track and looks around closely, as she's sensing from his tone that something's wrong but has no idea what. Yes?
We have talked about volume control before.
Yes! But she doesn't lower her voice at all, and the teacher just rubs his eyes.
So, what is it?
We need help. We're running out of supplies for the festival stands. This is a distress. She waves a pink slip of paper she's holding around.
So, go get more supplies from the art room. What's the problem with that?
Plywood. Plywood is always the problem. Last time we wanted more, there was only a little, but that time we just took it all and went with that. Now there's like none left here, so do you know where there is some?
I understand. How would I know?
Shijan, the president thought that the teacher would know if there is plywood. What's wrong? Muto looks like he's in great pain, frowning with his entire essence, and Misha doesn't get it at all. Looking at the two of them communicate is terrible, like looking at a man being tortured by drilling his skull open while blasting pop music at full volume at the same time. Sounds like a nightmare.
I'm afraid I have no idea if there is any plywood in the school, let alone where it would be if there was any.
Oh, what should I do?
Perhaps try to find Mr. Nomiya. I'm quite sure he would know where to find everything you need. You'd have to pry them from his cold, dead hands. But that's a different matter.
I don't have time. We are so busy and I clicked. Sorry about that. Oh my god. God damn it. What a mistake. I was kidding. She holds her head with both her hands, looking as despairing as it's possible for... Well, sorry. For a person like her. Without even noticing, she crumbles the note she's holding against her hair. I shouldn't even be fetching those things. There is so much to do and we're falling behind the schedule. Muto looks at her gravely and then suddenly smiles. Don't you dare! Smiling doesn't really fit his face. I think it's better if he didn't. Don't even think about what I think you will be doing, man. Don't you dare! Don't. We've been through this in one of the routes already. Stop! I wonder if you could get some temporary help. He switches to staring at me focusedly with hard expression, as if trying to say, go make some friends. How about no? I guess I could give you a hand. You can. Thanks, you are really nice. She pauses, that's double take, and then points at me with her finger, yelping, ah! And looking very puzzled. Come to think of it, what's he doing here? Class over, we should be having fun. We just had a little chat. Oh no, it's so urgent, is it? Are you in trouble, Hichan? No, I'm not. Is Hichan in trouble, teacher? No, he's not. Muto sighs deeply and I feel that I have to help Misha to get her off the teacher's back. Should I now fall? I mean, he dropped me into a situation I wanted to really avoid. So, you know. So what do you need? Here is a list. I can try to find a plywood from somewhere if there is none in the art room. She offers me the note she's holding. I take it, hesitating a bit, very much. I said I'd help you, but this has no implications on whether I'm joining the council or not. Still, Fexki-chan, try to be quick. We are in a stall building strict now. We must hurry. She bounced out of the classroom, leaving me and the teacher looking at each other with something that feels like a silent agreement. What have you done to me? Yeah, what have I done to you? Well, there you have it, Nakai. You have something to do now. Please, don't sound so smart. Looking at the list with number of items ranging from paint to plywood, all written with small, neat handwritings that is undoubtedly useless, I heave a sigh. I'll be going then. Waving the long list limply at the teacher, I exit to the hallway. The classrooms closest to ours are designated belonging to classes 3, 1, and 2 on the right side, and 4 on the left one. You know, the side. Each door looking exactly the same. Further down the corridor, still with identical doors, are rooms that I didn't think were used for classes. Also, no. Never mind. Now, actually, no, there is something that came to mind. I wonder if it's normal in Japanese classes and such, but it seems like you can easily enter any class while you were a student still, right? And I mean, they still close the doors and so on, but I think you can easily get the keys anyway, right? I mean, I don't know if I'm correct, but I think so. And even if not, maybe they write it down or whatever, who took the key and such, whatever. Over here in schools, it wasn't like that. I mean, classes always closed. You couldn't re-enter it unless the teacher was with you, which is crazy. Like they were worried, yeah, those children will definitely steal something. Even though there is absolutely nothing in the classroom. Anyway, I guess the art room is not a classroom as such. Carefully push open the furthest door and peek in. It's a classroom, but it seems rather badly kept or not in use. Am I in the right place? Desks and chairs are all around the room, a thin layer of dust settled on them. There are some easels in the corner, so at least this looks like the right place. The room is flashed in sunlight from the big windows, shadows creeping all over the desks. Specks of dust are dancing in the stagnant air, making the beams of light seem almost visible. Jokingly, I call into the empty room. Anybody ho! Something catches my eye, and I stop mid-sentence. Sitting on the desk is a short-haired girl, closely wearing a boy's uniform with a fork between her toes, and morsel of food stuck firmly on the end. This odd way of dining seems to be caused by her apparent lack of hands, but her presence here is what takes me aback even more. How did I miss her before? She's sitting in a corner very still, but I still somehow took her as part of the furnishing or a statue at first glance. I'm not being too observant today as a whole. The girl seems to be frozen in place, staring at me with her huge eyes like a rabbit in the headlights. She's staring at me, her mouth wide open, ready to accept the fork. I'm staring at her, my mouth wide open, suddenly remembering I didn't finish my sentence and trying to think if I should. This weird stalemate keeps us both stunned into silence, punctuated only by the wall clock ticking rhythmically. Tick-tock. Hello? The girl stuffs the forkful in her mouth and is now staring at me expectantly while chewing. This is a bit awkward. Hello? I was told to pick up some supplies from here for some festival stalls. I didn't think there would be someone here. There isn't. That's why I came here too. She picks up another forkful. Doesn't that mean you're here then? She raises her eyebrows as she was suspecting my observation was false. You are pretty observant. I guess it does. But who are you? This girl is pretty straightforward, isn't she? I'm Nakai, Hisao Nakai. I just transferred in on Monday. I'm Rin. Tezuka Rin. Rin Tezuka. I won't shake hands with you, but at least we know who we are now. It's very nice. Her deadpan manner of talking makes it hard to determine whether she's joking about shaking hands or not. It kinda bothers me. Joking about those matters doesn't feel appropriate at all. While I'm trying to figure out what's appropriate and whether this girl is, she seems to have lost interest in me and is now gazing yearningly back at her food. Can I continue my lunch? If you don't mind me, I won't mind you. If you need to get your stuff, the supplies are at the back. Go right ahead, but school is already over for the day. What word would you use then? There is no word for a meal you eat after lunch but before dinner, right? It bothers me very much too, but I don't really know what I should say. I don't think you're supposed to eat a meal between lunch and dinner to begin with. But I'm hungry now, and my delicious boxed lunch would go to waste otherwise. I have curry. It's very delicious. With much decisiveness, Rain once again picks up the fork between her toes, and with at least as much impoliteness, she points it straight at me. So, Nakai, what brings you to this place? Like I said, I was told to look for the things. No, the school. From outside you look fine. Is your problem inside? I come to a full stop, opening my mouth but not getting a word out. I can guess. I'm good at guessing. Better than most people. Rin cuts me off before I can answer a question, or skirt around it somehow. I don't know which I would have done. I froze in front of the issue again. I haven't even told anyone here about my condition, or maybe it's not because it hasn't really come up. I do get the feeling that not making issue of this is part of the social code here, as the teacher said. I wonder if the people here could relate. Probably not, any better than any normal person could. I can't relate to June's circumstances or Lily's either. Naturally, while I go through this in my head, Rin keeps considering what my condition could be, with an overly contemplative look on her face. She puts her fork between her lips and leans back, looking at the ceiling as if the answer was written up there. A beam of light illuminates her face from the window side, creating a mask of dark shadow on the other one. I don't think it's anything in your head, and something in your guts would be more ordinary, like this lunch of mine, and less delicious. The problem must be your pants! This messed up Sherlock Holmes kind of statement and the sheer lack of tact it was delivered with catch me completely off guard. I think I might have reeled back even physically as Rin's eyes widened in revelation and astonishment. So's right, there's a row of tackle, isn't there? Still partially shocked but recognizing the need to reply something, I spit out the first thing that I can think of. No! Nothing like that! I have a heart problem, arrhythmia! I said it. More like blurted it out, but I said it. The girl in front of me purses her lips together and glowers me, looking very disappointed. How boring. Trouble in the past would have been so much more scandalous. What with this reaction? I'm sorry to let you down. I forgive you. Just... I collect people in pairs with you, you know. That kind of problem would have been great. Collect people. People with different problems. Huh? So just, like, go around asking people what's wrong with them? Pretty much. I see. With little left to say, Rin resumes her lunch and the conversation dies away. But I keep thinking about what was said. It's the first time I told anyone else about my condition. All the other people have either known about it already or heard about it from someone else. Or didn't need to know about it like every other student here so far. Should I have done it as a natural part of introductions? Is it expected of me? Hi, I'm sick. Hi, I'm Hisao. I have a very serious heart condition. Is it I'm supposed to go around introducing myself from now on? As if our disabilities would define us. What a disgusting thought. Or maybe this Tezuka girl just has a natural interest in such things. As I walk to the back of the room to pick up the items on Misha's list, a chance opens study Rin from the corner of my eye. Her hair is a burnt auburn, almost orange, and cropped short. Long hair would probably be impossible with no arms. The voice humor and the lack of arms make her look very thin, almost scrawny. She is pretty, except for her she's pretty and has murky green eyes which flicker restlessly from below her short bangs even when she eats. The distance and the shadows make it seem like they don't reflect sunlight at all, but instead absorb all of it within them like deep wells. She moves her feet almost as deftly as a normal person would use their arms. However, I can see how this sight could discomfort people, especially while eating. It makes feel a bit uncomfortable, at least. I hesitate to think about the word unnatural, but it's too late now, isn't it? I keep searching for the cabins and shelves for Misha's things, but after enough time passes, the silence grows too uncomfortable, so I try to force some conversation out of this strange girl. So, do you always sit alone this late? Or do you get the occasional visitor? Visitors. Maybe you are my first occasional visitor, but I don't always eat alone either. Sometimes I eat with a certain person on the roof if she's not horsing around. Horsing? She likes to do sports. Oh. And that's all I can think of to say. Both of us fall silent again, and Rin forks the last bits of her meal to her mouth. I look down at my call and double check it with Misha's list. It seems I have everything except plywood. So I think I have all the things now. That's very nice for you. Don't feel obliged to say. I was about to take a nap anyways. You need to do whatever you're going to do with that stuff anyway, right? Or perhaps you like to watch girls sleeping? I'm not sure what to make of this, but Rin looks serious. Even if I did, I think I have to be going. I'll catch you around, Tezuka. You can call me Rin. I feel that our relationship is at this point good enough to warrant this much. I was already turning to take my exit, but she draws me back in. Fine, then I'm Hisao. Then you are. Rin looks at me hard in the eyes, but that intimidating feeling you get when someone stares at you isn't there. It's like she's actually not looking at me at all. She blinks a couple of times, and then I can't figure out why a pose like this just popped between us out of nowhere. See you later, Hisao. There is something like a tiny smile there in her face. Maybe. There was. I quietly back out the room. As I shut the door in front of my face, I whisper to myself, what an intriguing person. From inside, I hear a muffled sing-song voice. I heard that. What did you hear? I jumped as the appearance of Bisha, who I had not heard approaching despite the completely empty hallway. Somehow she had gotten to jump distance of me without making sound. Creepy! I briefly reminds me of Kenji's nutty theory about a global feminist conspiracy, but I pushed that for the side. No, don't. Side. And the more creepy one is here too. She's now standing slightly behind Misha, and I don't mean the painting, even if it's creepy as well. Looks aloof, as she couldn't have heard the remark that drew Misha's attention, but Misha is visibly excited. No, wait, more importantly, who's there? There is no club meetings today. She tries to curiously peek past me, even though the door prevents her from seeing anyway. What are you doing here? You took so long that we had to come check what's wrong. That's no good, Hichan. She wags her finger at me scoldingly. I found plywood, but everything else is still missing because you're tardy. Oh, sorry. I got the things here. Was just going to bring them. I think you're up to some mischief, Hichan. Who's in there with you, huh? I wonder, huh? Huh? Misha signs something quickly to Shizune, pointing at her own ear a couple of times. Shizune immediately pushes her way past me and opens the door into the classroom. I just left. I can only imagine the shock she's experiencing. With Shizune's diligence and attitude, the insolence of daring to deface school property by sleeping on top of it must be too much to bear. And indeed, she stares at Rin, frozen in place apart from the slight, but noticeable trembling of her shoulders, from suppressed rage, I'm sure. Instead of blowing up, Shizune just takes a few deep breaths, adjusts her glasses and slams the door shut, turning to sign furiously at Misha. Maybe she did blow up, but I can't understand it. She should... She shoots a very loaded stare at me too, as if it was somehow my fault that Rin is sleeping on one of the tables. I hope she's not getting any funny ideas about the reason of my tardiness. Hello? Hello? Rin's voice comes from the other side of the door, and it takes a few eye blinks to realize she might have trouble opening it. You know what? Actually, this reminded me one situation when it comes to tables and such. You know how in schools you have some days where you actually practice evacuation and such? So in my primary school, we actually had a firefighter place. What it's called? Fuck. You know, basically firefighters had their base next to it. And, you know, they would come to us and train this out, right, and such. So, in one case, me and my other classmate were asked to, you know, hey guys, how about you stay? And, you know, we'll do a little bit of a, you know, theatrical play. And so we stayed, two of us, and they're like, okay, so the fire broke out, you two didn't make it, right? And, you know, it was supposed to bring a little bit of a goddamn confusion to the teachers of ours and class and so on, right? Maybe a little bit of a state of panic possibly, but whatever, right? But the best part was like, okay, so we are here, we found you. We need to get you out of here, right? But you're supposed to have no consciousness, so let's pretend you have no consciousness, right? We are going to strap you to the doors and get you out. That was kind of ridiculous, but fun at the same time, you know. And at the time, at least, you know, you think, damn, that's so cool. I mean, now maybe it isn't, but back then, yeah, that was pretty cool. But I guess you could only beat that with... Actually, I think that was 1 year older than me class. They were being taken from the first floor, basically, you know, not like the ground floor, but from the first floor, and you know, with the, you know, vehicle and so on. That was neat. Anyway, Rin's voice comes from the other side of the door, and it takes a few eye blinks, so that she might have trouble opening it. I mean, then again, being a firefighter sounds freaking amazing, but at the same time, it must be so freaking dangerous. I open the door to find Rin darkly behind it, looking at us with half interested, half sleepy face. Hello. Mr. Scott, what do you think you're doing, huh? You absolutely are not permitted to use school property for such disgraceful activity. It sure is suddenly very crowded here. I didn't know I was this popular. It's hard to say whether she's happy or unhappy about this turn of events. At any rate, she ignores Suzune Misha's scolding, so they have no choice but to drop the issue. Suzune taps Misha's shoulder, points at Rin, and makes some quick signs. Like a goddamn... freaking... that thing. Like a Gatling gun. Popularity aside, please don't do that anymore! Anyway, how's the project going? Will it be done for the festival? Rin looks at them blankly, apparently at ease under the pressure Suzune's cold stare is putting on her. I keep wondering about that myself too. And? We'll think about it harder. A special science can reply to Suzune, her face turns to an unsatisfied frown. Miss Tezuka, please try to take this seriously. It'll be a disaster if the wall looks like someone threw up their lunch onto it. Rin nods assertively. We'll think more seriously. Misha actually giggles at that, but Suzune doesn't, not even after translation. She just shakes her head, takes the materials from me, and takes off with Misha in tow. I mean, if you think about it, from all the characters here, Rin has basically... is probably the only one who can deal with those two easily. And by that I mean Shizune. Anyway, she just shakes her head, takes the materials from me, and takes off with Misha in tow. Rin frowns thoughtfully as she looks after the retreating student council duo. How rude. It's truthful. I must finish my project before the weekend. There will be dire consequences if I don't. The end of the world as we know it. Like weekends usually are, but more dire. Much more dire. Maybe I'll postpone my nap to the unforeseen future. I'm about to ask what project she has and what are those apocalyptic consequences, but she walks back into the art room. Since you've nothing to do, would you give me a hand? This paint can't fit into my bag, but I need it. She kicks slightly at a huge can of paint that's lying on the floor next to the table she was sitting and sleeping on. It lets out a dull clunk. Being the gentleman I am, naturally. Pick it up. Heavy. Yeah, sure. Where do you need to take it? Away. And with that, she takes off to the hallway. Me and the paint can following since there's little choice for either of us. The hallway is quiet and empty now with Suzune and Misha gone, so we two leave towards a stairwell at the other end. Every 10 or 15 or 20 steps, I have to change the can from one hand to another because the thin handle cuts into my palm. At least it keeps my arms from tiring too fast. Rin strolls on beside me with an uneven pace that I have trouble matching. Or maybe I'm walking weird because of the extra wave. It seems one of us is constantly walking too slow or too fast and I can't figure out which. 2 flights of stairs below, trouble appears in the form of a head nurse and his fox-like grin. And
Ah, Mr. Nakai, what a happy coincidence. Tezuka too, of course.
He nods cordially to Rain, who does not acknowledge him back, then turns to me because obviously it's me who he had some business with.
There is something I forgot to mention on Monday.
I nod and wait impassively because I can't even begin to guess what he forgot. The feeling of the handle delving deeper into my skin doesn't make me feel enthusiastic about this interruption either.
It's about your medications. Since you haven't been that long on your current medications, there might be some unexpected side effects which might require adjusting dosages or even changing to another kind of medication. So we'll do a few tests regularly, but what I want is for you to keep eye on everything in your condition that feels off, if you get what I mean. Nosy, headache, anything, and come see me if something happens.
Alright.
So how are you? Everything fine?
I give up and drop the can to the floor before answering him. Apparently this takes longer than my biceps can handle. I'm about to say something generic as an output, but then I realize how often I've done that lately. Other people have asked me that too. Teachers and students here. My parents, visitors, nurses, doctors at the hospital. Everyone seems to be concerned about that. It's natural for a hospital, not so much for a school. Except this school. This is a small school and both the student base and the faculty seem to very tightly knit. At least that's the feeling I'm getting. And this is not the kind of school that gets transfer students too often. The thought sends shivers up my spine, but I give a generic answer anyway.
That's great. Also, one other thing. My sources tell me that you've been at neither the stool track nor even the pool. So I'd like to know if you have taken up exercising as I asked.
Of course I haven't, but this way of inquiring gives me the feeling that I should have been running my ass off on the track since the very first day. You have people spying on me.
Not as such. I just happen to know a few people, but that's not the issue here, so don't try to slip out of it.
Well, I was actually just doing some improvised weightlifting as an exercise. I pick up and lift the can up and down a few times like some sad imitation of a bodybuilder, even though it's waving down my arms painfully. The stupid grin disappears from his face for a second, then comes back like it was never gone.
Tezuka, would give us a second.
The nurse grabs me by the shoulder, without waiting for Rin's permission, which he didn't need in the first place, and drags me aside.
When I told you to exercise, I wasn't joking. I understand that you are still on your first week and all, but please don't ignore the importance of this. The reason I'm coming down this hard on you is that habits are not easy to form. The more you sleep and postpone, the harder it will be. It's the same with everything, like dieting. Can you promise me to be more serious about this from now on?
We are supposed to say... Maybe. Maybe no, I mean... he gives me a nasty sort of look when I say that. Make me try to take back the word. I mean, I'm still trying to get used to the school and so, yeah. I promise to try for...
You're not being very convincing then, Hisao. Tip number 1. Medical professionals are not amused if you take their advice lightly.
What's up with him? As if a day or two would make that much of a difference. I didn't do anything at the hospital either. Yeah, okay, sorry. He studies me for a moment and then shrugs, smiling again.
Okay, that's more like it. If you go to the school track tomorrow morning, you will meet my spy, who probably has no qualms offering consultation to you if you want to jog a bit.
Consultation.
See you around.
He leaves with a wave of his hand and no answer, and I walk to Rain, who has been waiting. It lingers the hallway wall and staring at the pale lighting fixtures in the ceiling. Even when I approach, she doesn't move her eyes off them. Are you getting medications for your heart thingy? Were you listening? It comes out more acoustically than I intended, accidentally lashing out on her. But even so, I don't really want to start talking about it. I just met her. I don't know her. It's not her business. The nurse seems to be happily ignorant about confidentiality too, talking about that kind of thing in public. But it's not Rin's fault, is it? I look up at her, suddenly feeling a bit guilty, but Rin is just staring past my shoulder quizzically, her head tilted like a bird's. I don't know why it's so hard for me. It feels like there is some inexplicable lock that prevents me from being more upfront about this. Yeah, they are for my heart. Will they make you better? No, not really. They just make me a little less worse. Rin keeps looking at me for a while longer, and she neither says anything further nor displays any kind of emotion I could discern. I'm thankful that she doesn't. I think I'm still not quite used to all of this. As the hospital it was easy, but I still haven't sorted my feelings about having to live a normal life with this disability. The last sip. We leave the main building and Rin leads us towards, or should I say, onwards towards the dorm. We stop at the small patch of greenery in front of the dorm building. The dorm is built on a slightly elevated ground with a wall and a few trees that everyone has to circle around every time they come or go. It's probably the only inconvenient design in the school. The entire wall, made of the same kind of bricks as the building itself, has been covered with some sort of painting. Most of it is still mere sketches, quick lines drawn with black and white against the grey plastering that covers almost the entire length of the wall, but some places look a bit more finished. There are human faces and legs and hands. I can't quite say what the painting as a whole might portray. Stacks of what seem to be the paint cans are arranged in piles on the ground beside the wall. See, the left side is hardly off the ground yet. It's because I couldn't get in the mood yesterday, so I gave up and went to meditate instead. Then, it was suddenly morning. I had to work on it, but the guys from the art class are helping with the negative places and base surfaces whenever, which is a problem. It's easier to paint big areas if there are a lot of people with hands. The reach is better, and it's faster too. She goes on a tangent of a tangent, waving a little with her arm or whatever of it there actually is, to demonstrate even if I got the point already. The white coat on her sleeve flaps around, and it makes me think it could look sadder than it does. But it makes me feel out of place, like almost every tangible reminder of the student base's special properties has is in the past few days. This girl doesn't notice my dreary feelings, of course, or the fact that she lost me a while ago already and just keeps on blubbering. So that's why I try to figure out if there is something I need to figure out and then figure out before it's too late and all hope is lost. Why would the hope be lost? Because paint has to be painted and then it has to dry and then it has to be painted over with another kind of paint. It takes time. She finally stops, apparently thinking she made some kind of statement that makes sense. I think it's best to start from the top. So, this is your project. You did this. Yes. Yes. All of it. Yes. Nice, but I stumbled my words, suddenly feeling like I've walked straight into the minefield of political incorrectness. It's okay. You can say it. I probably won't get mad. I blush really hard. I don't really know what would be the right thing to say, if any. It feels that I'm way more sensitive than Rin is for. This is really awkward. Don't you want to ask? How do you paint without hands? See, I'm an easy person to talk to, right? With my feet. I almost guessed that already, but isn't that hard to do? You're good at guessing. Anyway, I don't think it is, but maybe I'm used to it by now. I can't get my mind around the fact that she could be an artist, but seeing how adept she was using her feet to it, I figure painting might not be a problem either. Neither of us has anything more to add to the subject. The afternoon light works pretty well. I was afraid it would look too flat, but it's not like that after all. I think it's actually pretty interesting. I intend to see what it looks like in dim light. Do you think it's flat?
Well, paintings tend to be flat.
Not like that flat, you know, flat like some people are, no substance, no meat, where there should be some. I knew a few girls who...
Okay, I get it, but I couldn't read out. I'm not good with art. I can't name many artists or artistic terms, so I don't really have anything to say. Rin shrugs her shoulders at that, saying,
Suit yourself.
without saying it, and looks up at the sky as if trying to look for something up there.
I think I'd get any actual work done, but if you give me a hand with the paints, I could do a little before it's too dark. I want to get a halogen lamp like the ones they have at the sports track, but there aren't any.
Ranger is quick to recruit my help, as was Shizune. It even makes me feel that the festival is such a big project that every pair of hands is needed. Why not? I'm not sure if I can be of any help though.
It's just mixing some paints. You can do that. Probably. Do you have motor control problems like, you know, those people who have some? Cerebral palsy, maybe? Not that I know of. I get it. Hard thinking has nothing to do with that.
She gives me a sly look for no reason. No, it doesn't.
Let's do it then.
So she sits on an empty wooden box and very naturally picks up a white brush between the toes of her bare right foot. I open a few of the cans and pour some of the contents into shallow bowls for mixing. The thick paint flows lazily from the can to the bowl like syrup. I mix them, creating funny hypnotic looking swirl patterns that melt quickly into each other to form a new monotone hue. Rin sets to work, every now and then asking me for a hand with something or the other. Finding different brushes is easy enough, but mixing the paints to be exact on this girl's apparently singing in her head is frustrating ordeal. She wants precision down to the last millimeter before she is satisfied, but her instructions are obscure at best.
Add half a splash of green.
I crash down to pick up the can of bright green.
The other green, this green.
I carefully pour some of the other green to the mixing bowl.
No, that's almost a whole splash. More white. Is green a good color to add?
No idea. You are the artist here. A hint of smile appears in the corners of her mouth.
Do you like an opinion?
No, it's just that I have no idea.
It's okay, because I have an idea. Add more white.
With this exclamation, I pour a minuscule amount of white into the bowl and mix it. It looks slightly whiter.
That's not good. It has to be like the color when you wake up and you know that you saw some meaning of life in your dream but can't remember it. Maybe it's yellow?
Despite the impossibility of mixing a color like the change of seasons or any other nonsense that's being imposed on me, I find myself enjoying it more than I thought I would. Seeing a painting being born on the plastered wall feels like magic. I spend the moments between mixing paints, crouching down on the paving and just looking at her work. It feels slightly intrusive at first, like drinking some imaginary intimacy, but Rin doesn't seem to mind the least bit, maybe just in my head. Her entire presence emits a completely different air as she patiently works the details, adding layers of paint to the others, on top of others layers of paint, steadily moving her foot across the wall to add new shapes. When I manage to produce a passable mixture of paint, the rare smile on her face is oddly rewarding. Apart from the few words when discussing paint mixes, neither says a word for the longest time. Yet even those short discussions soon evolve into a shorthand, both of us developing and using weird impromptu code words for various paints and hues. As if there was some need to conserve words and breathe and sound. We stay here late in the evening until it becomes too dark to paint properly. That's a wrap. Let's end the episode. We'll continue tomorrow, of course. Hope you enjoyed. Hope to see you there and have a wonderful day. Bye bye.